Hello, my dear friends. Warm welcome to all of you from the part of the Department of Commerce, KG College Pampadi and St. Berkman's College Changanasheri. Once again, I thank God for giving me another opportunity to speak to you. So let me begin. I would like to begin from the point where we have concluded last time. We were actually speaking about the scaling of data and the requirements. So I would like to begin from that point again. Specifically, I would like to start from how to develop a multi-item scale and what are the things to be remembered by you. Some important steps are to be followed by a researcher for the development of a multi-item scale. A multi-item scale simply refers to a research instrument that is used for measuring something where we are using more than one statements at a time for the measurement of a single concept. So the first step in the multi-item scale development is the development of a theory. If there is a well-developed theory dealing with the concept you are actually going to research, say for example, in my case, customer relationship management, there is a well-developed theory related to that. So if there is a well-developed theory, then only you are able to develop a scale. If the theory is not strong, or if there is no theory for a particular concept you are actually going to research, it may be very difficult for you to have a multi-item scale. The process to be adopted by a researcher under such a circumstance is something different that we will discuss while dealing with factor analysis. And from the theory, the researchers are expected to generate an initial pool of items. An initial pool of items means items simply refers to the statements. First of all, we are to develop some statements, a pool of statements, which can be used for the measurement of the concept you are proposed to. So at the first stage, you try to develop as many statements as possible, considering the different features of the topic you are dealing. So for example, if you are going to measure a mutual trust in case of banking, there are so many factors that can exhibit the features of mutual trust. You are to identify different circumstances and different features that can exhibit mutual trust and develop all possible statements. So that is what I meant the development of initial pool of items. And another thing is select a reduced set of items based on qualitative judgment. Okay, I have already told you, after the development of a pool of items, there should be some content validation process. You yourself should validate the content. If somebody else related to the concept you are researching are available, then you can give your statements to such people. You can take the consultation. If some academic people are available for the consultation, then their services can be adopted using all these. The number of statements that are to be developed by you should be reduced. The qualitative judgment is required for the reduction of the number of items. Say, for example, if you have developed 50 items for the measurement of a particular concept, the entire 50 items may not be required for the measurement of that. So somebody else who is an expert in the field in which you are actually doing research, okay, such people, the services of such people are to be taken, so that you will be able to come up with a scale with reduced number of statements. And the next step suggested is to collect data from a pre-test sample. We know that before going for a final survey, we will conduct a pilot survey, which is otherwise known as a pre-test survey or pre-test sample. You collect information on the basis of the pre-test sample, and you are expected to perform some statistical analysis, and you can come up with a purified scale. The process to be adopted by you will be discussed in detail and will demonstrate how to purify the scale you have actually developed. Then only you are expected to finalize your instrument and collect and go for the final collection of data. Then you are expected to evaluate the scale reliability, validity, and prepare the final scale. Okay, these are the different steps actually expected to be followed by a researcher at the time of development of a multi-item scale. So you always remember the scaling technique is actually applied. That is, you can go for a specific scale for a particular purpose can be applied only when there is a well-developed theory dealing with the subject you are actually doing research. Okay, now we are moving on to introduce before you a topic of research, which we were actually discussing about this particular topic. Okay, today I would like to speak to you about this particular topic, that is customer relationship management orientation. Customer relationship management orientation. In my PhD study, I had two important areas of study. One is relationship management orientation of officers and managers at the branch level, and relationship strength of customers with their bank. Today, I am trying to introduce the model which dealt with customer relationship management orientation, what I have studied. So when I want to study about customer relationship management orientation, definitely I have to think about what are the components of customer relationship management orientation. So for that, what I'm expected to do, I have made an extensive review of literature and found that there are 5 different components for customer relationship management orientation. They are trust, bonding, shared value, personalized communication, and empathy. Once again, trust, bonding, shared value, personalized communication, and empathy. So orientation in mutual trust, bonding, shared value, personalized communication, and empathy of the managers and officers at the branch level, working at the branch level, constitutes together, all these together constitutes customer relationship management orientation. So if I take up the sum of all these phenomenon, then I will get customer relationship management orientation. Or in other words, orientation in all these 5 components together is technically known as customer relationship management orientation. I have identified this. So you remember, since there are 5 different components for customer relationship management orientation, I'm expected to have a scale or have different scales for valuing trust, bonding, shared value, personalized communication, and empathy. There must be a scale for measuring trust, There must be another scale for measuring bonding, another scale for sharing shared value, then another for personalized communication, and one more for assessing or measuring the empathy or the orientation in customer empathy. So when all these together are taken, I will get the score for numerical value for customer relationship management orientation. That is the idea. So I'm in need of 5 different scales, and I have searched extensively in literature and found the characteristics of all these phenomena and developed different scales for all these 5 components. Okay, now thinking about the topic, what I'm actually studying. I was actually studying customer relationship management orientation to relate with it with the branch level performance of banks at the branch level. My presumption or my hypothesis was the performance at the branch level or branch level performance of a banking company actually depends on the customer relationship management orientation. So I need another scale for measuring performance of banks at the branch level. So now the question is, on what basis we are to measure the performance? What are the parameters? There are so many methods for or variables for measuring branch level performance. But since this is a study in marketing management, I have to take into account the marketing variables or the variables which can be used for the measurement of the performance and which can be linked with customer relationship management orientation. So I have reviewed and I found there are a large number of variables which can be used for evaluating the branch level performance. Out of that, I have selected some. They are actually cross-selling effectiveness, growth in business, growth in profitability, and customer retention. Performance in customer retention. These are actually used for evaluating the branch level performance. Once again, cross-selling, the variables which are used for measuring assessing the performance at the branch level of banks is actually done with the help of assessment regarding self-assessment of branch managers regarding the cross-selling effectiveness at the branch, then growth in business, growth in profitability, and customer success in customer retention. Okay, so while having a model like this, I found that there is a problem with my model. That is, when we speak about customer relationship management orientation or customer relationship management, if a banker is actually following customer relationship management, customer relationship marketing or customer relationship management, that means the banker is actually following class banking. But in India, there is a problem that our banking companies were actually following mass banking from 1969 to 1991. Mass banking, that is, the services of the banking companies were offered to all, irrespective of the quality or irrespective of the value of the customer. Services are rendered to all customers, different varieties of customers, whatever be their level of income. And that practice is being followed by the old managers working even at present. That means a culture in a bank, in banking companies, the mass banking practices followed may be inherited by some of the bank managers. Some aspects of mass banking orientation is being present even today in some of the banks, especially in case of public sector banks. Okay, so I have considered mass banking as a variable which actually influence the performance of the branch. Okay, this is the model I have developed. So what are the scales actually I need? I have already told you I need 5 different scales for measuring CRMO. That is shared value, bonding, trust, personalized communication, and empathy. I have to make 5 different scales. And when I put them together, or take the total score of all these 5 scales, I will get a score for relationship management orientation. And I need something regarding the performance of banks. I have taken 4 different variables, and taking the sum of all these, I will get a numerical value regarding the performance at the branch level. And I have an independent scale for developed for measuring the mass banking. Okay, so I have this much scale incorporated in a research instrument, which is meant for branch level officers and managers. Okay, this is the kind of model you have to imagine. While doing research, this kind of a relationship must be imagined by you. That's important. Then if this is possible, that means you are a good researcher. There will be a clarity in your mind. This kind of a presentation is important. Now let's see another model, that is financial capability and financial satisfaction. This is actually a study, a broad area of study under which is being taken up by a student of mine doing research at present. She is ready with her research instrument. I will conduct the data collection immediately after the corona restrictions are over. Okay, the title broadly is financial capability and financial satisfaction. Not exactly the title of the study, but the theme is financial capability and financial satisfaction. Okay, the main component of our study is financial capability. Now the issue is the second aspect, that is financial satisfaction. This is the basic relationship my student and me are actually expecting. That is financial capability. Better financial capability will give better financial satisfaction. Okay, there is a positive relationship between financial capability and financial satisfaction. So we have 2 different basic components in our research area: financial capability and financial satisfaction. Okay, now we have identified 4 different components for financial capability. Okay, I haven't mentioned anything about the name of the components because this study is actually an ongoing study, which is expected to be undertaken by my student. So I don't want to disclose with you the name of the components. We have decided for a 4-component financial capability measurement. Okay, C1, C2, C3, C4 refers to component number 1, component number 2, 3, and 4. That means when I take the sum of the scores of the 4 components, I will get financial capability. Okay, then the review of literature says that there are 2 factors that actually influence the financial capability of individuals. They are actually financial inclusion and financial literacy. Financial inclusion and financial literacy. So we have gone through the literature of financial inclusion and financial literacy, and we found that financial inclusion can be measured with the help of 3 things, that is access to finance, affordability of financial services and products, and availability. These 3, when all these 3 are taken together, a score regarding financial inclusion can be made, or a financial inclusion index can be made with the help of these 3 aspects. And we have financial literacy. We have some components for financial literacy, which I haven't included here. They are actually financial knowledge and financial attitude of the people. And at the same time, we are expecting a relationship between financial literacy and financial inclusion. Actually, better the financial literacy of a person, better will be the level of financial inclusion. That is a theory established. We want to know whether this particular phenomenon is applicable in our Kerala also. So, my dear friends, there are definitely There are some psychological variables in our original study, which I don't want to disclose it now because I have already told you the study is ongoing. Okay, so this, if you should be able to have models like this while conducting your study. Okay, you always remember a model like this will help you to clearly set objectives, to clearly prepare the research instrument, and clarity in mind will be very high when you have a very good research model with you. Okay, now we are moving on to another aspect, that is technical, that is reliability. We all heard so many things about reliability. Actually, reliability refers to the extent to which a scale produces consistent results if measurements are made repeatedly. Say, for example, if you have a scale for measuring financial inclusion, or for measuring financial capability, or for measuring financial satisfaction of individuals, the scale can be considered as reliable only when that scale can produce consistent results. Say, for example, if you are conducting a study among the marginalized people in Kerala about their financial capability and financial satisfaction. Suppose if you take a random sample of 500 people from Central Travancore, you can assess the characteristics of people with respect to financial satisfaction or financial capability. You will have a definite a measurement regarding capability or financial satisfaction or other variables which you are studying. Suppose if you are taking another 500 sample from Central Travancore itself on random basis, then also the result should be consistent. There should not be any big difference between the first set and the second set. Then only we can say that the instrument is reliable, provided this is possible only when we are applying random samples. Otherwise, the result may be different. You remember that. Okay. Then how can we, or what are the different approaches for assessing the reliability? Basically, there are three different approaches for assessing reliability. These are actually theoretical. For a practical researcher, these are not essential. One is retest reliability. Another one is alternative forms, and the third is internal consistency methods. These are the three different approaches for assessing the reliability. All these three need not be done. And you remember, these are actually done. Such a step is actually undertaken when you are developing a scale for the first time. Say, if you have gone through some good articles dealing with the scale development, then the researchers are doing these kinds of exercises. Usually, people doing research in commerce or in management in our areas are actually not at all bothered about these kinds of practices. That's why I'm telling you, this has only theoretical importance in our case. A retest reliability simply refers to, first of all, you are testing a research instrument, that is collecting data from a set of respondents, and analyze the data. Then you go for another set of random sample. Then you go for one more set of random samples. Then compare the results given in sample number 1, sample number 2, and sample number 3. You see how far the results are varying. If there is big variation between the results in first study, second study, and third study conducted with the help of the same instrument, the reliability will be less. On the other hand, if the variation is comparatively lower, that we can say that the instrument we are testing is highly reliable. Okay, you don't want to worry about such things. Okay, but another thing is alternative forms reliability. Alternative forms reliability simply, it's also a very simple thing, but we are not practicing. We have a questionnaire. Suppose if you have a questionnaire for measuring the financial satisfaction of women in our state, the same instrument can be applied with some sort of modifications in the language, not the meaning. With the same the same statements can be presented in another form, in another instrument. And when the two instruments are applied in the same random samples, we naturally expect similar results. If similar results are getting from different sets of samples which are selected on random basis, we can say that the reliability of the instrument is too high. Otherwise, reliability is less. Then, internal consistency and reliability. The issue of internal consistency and reliability arises when we are actually applying summated scale, where there are a large number of items to form a total score. Say, for example, if there are 6 different statements for the measurement of a particular concept, say, for example, for the measurement of financial satisfaction, suppose if there are 12 statements, the sum of the scores given will be taken into account for the value of the financial satisfaction in respect of a particular respondent. That is what we call as a summated scale. The scores are the sum of the scores. Scores of various statements are taken for the measurement of a particular phenomenon. Okay. Actually, this measure of reliability focuses on internal consistency. That is consistency within the instrument. Actually, there are 2 different methods for, or 2 different tools for ensuring the internal consistency or the reliability. They are actually split half reliability and Cronbach's alpha. Some of you might have heard about Cronbach alpha. If you check the SPSS, there may be one more thing, that is Gutmann's reliability. But basically, there are 2 different reliability measurements, that is split half reliability and Cronbach's alpha. For research in commerce, management, and other social sciences, people are actually using Cronbach alpha. The split half, I would like to tell you something about a split half reliability. The concept is simply is very simple. Say, for example, if there are 30 different statements for the measurement of a particular thing. Say, for example, if you are assessing the money attitude of people in a particular place, there are 27 statements for money attitude, for measuring the money attitude. Suppose if there are 30 statements for the measurement of a particular thing, and if you are doing split half reliability, the 30 items are divided into 2 equal parts. That is 15 each. And the reliability of the 2 sets of statements are computed. And then we will compare the reliability scores of the first set and second set. If the variation between the first set and second set is minimum, we will say the instrument is highly reliable. Otherwise, instrument is not at all reliable. That is the sense. And Cronbach alpha is also based on split half, but not a single split half. For the computation of Cronbach alpha, all possible split half coefficients are calculated. That means we are when we have 30 different statements for the measurement of a particular concept, We can divide it into 2 equal parts, 15 each. How many ways? 30 items are there. We want to take 15 only at a time. So the number of combinations possible is 30 C 15 ways. 30 C 15 ways. Those who know, those who have learned probability will understand exactly how many times or how many combinations are possible. So the system itself will compute all the possible combinations of 15 each, and the reliability will be calculated, and the average of the reliability is taken. That is what Cronbach's alpha. That's why all researchers in almost all fields in commerce, management, and social sciences are using Cronbach alpha because of this advantage. It is the most powerful reliability measurement. And you remember, something important is to be noted by you. Cronbach alpha measure actually ranges between 0 and 1. 0 refers to no reliability at all, and 1 refers to the maximum reliability. That is the coefficient, beta coefficient, Cronbach alpha coefficient actually ranges between 0 and 1. And the benchmark is 0.7. That means benchmark means an instrument or a scale is considered as valid only when the Cronbach alpha coefficient is 0.7 or more. Otherwise, a scale cannot be considered as reliable. Always note this figure. 0.7 is very important. With reference I have given, Churchill 1979, Nanoli 1978. They are the pioneers in the field of reliability measurements and instrument validation techniques. Now, some authors are of opinion that the benchmark, a benchmark of 0.6 is sufficient. In some social science studies, getting a benchmark of 0.7 is a difficult task, a very tedious task to get 0.7 benchmark of Cronbach alpha. Okay, so some people at present says that the minimum requirement is 0.6, but I would say in commerce or management, the benchmark is 0.7. Otherwise, if your Cronbach alpha is less than 0.7 and you send an article to a decent journal, a good journal, they will not accept your article. That's the important point to be remembered by you. Okay, and I have already told you something about the content validation. Content validation is otherwise known as face validity. The content validity is a process of systematic evaluation of how well the content of a scale represents the measurement task at hand. That is, if you have a purpose for a particular scale, say I have already told you, if you want to measure financial capability of a person, that instrument should be able to have a right measurement of the phenomenon you are actually planning. That must be ensured. The ability of a scale for the measurement of a particular component must be ensured by you. That is what is known as face validation or content validation. Now, I would like to raise a question, to cite a question raised by a participant last day. I was not able to answer to that query. Okay, how many statements are required for a particular, for the measurement of a particular phenomenon, or how many statements are required in a scale? Actually, there is no precise universally accepted principle governing the number of statements. It is stated that the the statements given in the scale or statement used for the measurement of a particular purpose must be adequate. But you remember, if you are going for some modeling, minimum number of statements that are required for the measurement of a particular concept is 4. Okay, so there is general principle regarding number of statements. That is, the number of statements in a scale should not be too large. If there are 60 or 70 statements in a research instrument for the measurement of a particular phenomenon, then it will be difficult for the respondent to answer by evaluating the content of the statements. So there are research studies dealing with this phenomenon also. To what extent a respondent can concentrate on a research instrument? If there are a large number of statements, it will be very difficult for a respondent to evaluate all the statements and give answer to all the questions. So while making scales for a research study, you must always consider the capacity of the respondents. Putting so many statements on a research instrument will not give quality data. That should be remembered. Okay. And criterion validity. Its validity simply refers to, or it examines whether the scale used for the measurement actually performs in accordance with your expectations. From where are you getting expectations? On what basis you have some expectations regarding something? Say, in my second example in present day's presentation, I have told you I'm studying about financial capability and financial satisfaction. And I have already told you there is a positive relationship between financial capability and financial satisfaction. That is, higher the level of capability, better will be the financial satisfaction and vice versa. Okay, that is the argument I have made. On what basis I have made such an argument? This is purely based on the theory. There are studies which have already established that financial capability and financial satisfaction are positively related. So in your instrument, you have some expectations regarding the performance of your instrument. That is the relationship between the instrument. Then the scales should perform accordingly. If it is performing accordingly, that means if two scales are expected to have a negative relationship, and at the time of analyzing, you found that there is a positive relationship, that means the scale is actually not performing. That is, the validity of the scale is in doubtful. Okay, so that is what the criterion validity is concerned. Okay, when we speak about validation, another aspect is validation. It's a process to ensure that the measurement error is minimum. While measuring a phenomenon by using a scale, our attempt is to minimize the measurement error. Okay, we are actually trying to minimize the measurement error, and perfect validity means the measurement error is nil. When there is no measurement error, we can say that the validity of the instrument is perfect, but practically it is very, very difficult, or I would say it's impossible. Avoiding 100% measurement error is a very difficult task. Okay. Another thing is regarding the construct validity. We are moving on to application side of our research, that is construct validity. How can we ensure the validity of a construct? The construct validation process includes convergent validity, discriminant validity, and nomological validity. These three types of validation processes are to be done to ensure that your instrument is valid. That is, the instrument is performing exactly according to the theoretical expectations. Remember, convergent validity, discriminant validity, and nomological validity. I'm trying to explain these three types of validations based on the data used with the help of SPSS. Suppose if you are, there are different alternative mechanisms by which we can ensure these three types of validation processes. At the first time, we are learning these three validation processes, how it is being done, and what is the purpose, and how to make inference out of that. Okay, you always remember, if you are reading books or some other articles dealing with validation process, you may see different types of convergent, discriminant, and nomological validation. I'm explaining the one. Okay. Okay, what is this convergent validity? Convergent validity is the extent to which the scale correlates with other measures of the same construct. Say, let us take one example. My first example was with respect to CRMO. There were 5 different components for CRMO: trust, bonding, empathy, personalized communication, and shared value. And there are 5 different scales for the measurement of CRMO. 5 different scales for the measurement of CRMO. What is my objective? My objective is to have a measurement of customer relationship management orientation of branch level managers. And my objective is not to have a measurement of these 5 independent scales. I want to measure relationship management orientation. If all the 5 different components together can become customer relationship management orientation, then there should be some positive correlation between the scales. That means the scores with respect to trust, bonding, shared value, empathy, personalized communication, etc., should be positively correlated. This is a fundamental principle. Always remember, if you are using different scales for the measurement of a particular phenomenon, all the scales used for the measurement of that particular phenomenon should be positively correlated. That means they should move almost in the same direction. Then only we can say that that instrument is having convergent validity. That is, all these together should converge into a single phenomenon. Once again, my example, there were 5 different scales for measurement of CRMO. And what I'm required while doing convergent validity, I have to do a correlation analysis, and the correlation between all these 5 components should be positive, and the correlation should be significant also. Then only I can say that the instrument is possessing convergent validity. Then another thing is discriminant validity. Discriminant validity is the extent to which a measure does not correlate with other constructs from which it's supposed to differ. It's also very important, and you should understand exactly what I'm saying. Say, in order to have clarity over this, I would like to take my own example. I have a scale for the measurement of mass banking, and I have the scale for the measurement of customer relationship management orientation. For that, I have 5 different scales. Theoretically, you should know exactly what is the relationship between these two. That is, customer relationship banking and mass banking. What is the difference between these two? In case of mass banking, all customers entering to the premise of a banking company must be treated equally. Similar products and services must be offered to them. The cost of all services should be similar to all the customers. That is, this is similar to mass marketing. That is, producing as a bundle and sell it to all customers irrespective of the value. But in case of relationship banking or relationship marketing, what we are doing, we are selling to the customers on the basis of their value. We are dealing with the customers on the basis of value. We are classifying the customers on the basis of value. That is high-end customers, that is most valuable. Most valuable means most profitable. Most profitable customers are given priority. They are offered specialized, personalized products. The prices charged from such customers will be different from that of the other customers. So while listening to my talk at present, what do you think? What will be the type of relationship between CRMO and the mass banking? They are actually negatively correlated. That means a manager having high level of CRMO will have minimum level of mass banking orientation. On the other hand, in case of manager who is having high level of mass banking orientation will have lower level of CRMO. So that is what we say about the movement in opposite direction. That is theoretical expectation. Theoretical expectation is that the bank managers who have high level of CRMO should have lower level of mass banking orientation. So I should be able to test this. That is between CRMO and the mass banking orientation, I will be able to test the correlation, and the theory says that it should be negative. If while conducting the actual analysis, if I get there is a negative relationship, then definitely we can say that the instrument is possessing discriminant validity. And nomological validity is the extent to which scale correlates in theoretically predicted ways with measures of different but related constructs. Remember, nomological validity is the extent to which scale correlates theoretically predicted ways with measures of different but related constructs. Okay, my dear friends, I have already told you I have a measurement for customer relationship management orientation, and I have a measurement of the branch level performance. Customer relationship management is a construct where there are 5 different scales. So you may be understanding exactly what is construct and what is scale. Customer relationship management orientation, we have a construct and 5 different scales are there. So the combination of the 5 different scales is technically now called as construct. I have another scale for the branch level performance. So for that, I have cross-selling effectiveness, then a growth in business, growth in profit, and so customer retention, and so on. Okay, what theory says? These are actually the CRMO and business performance are actually totally different things. They are not they are not same thing, cannot be considered as a single phenomenon. But the theory says there is some sort of relationship between. The theory very closely says that the CRM theory says that there is a positive relationship between CRMO and business performance. That means higher the level of relationship management orientation of managers working in a branch, their performance will be better. That is the theory that I can test. If my test is saying so, or if I while doing correlation analysis between CRMO and the business performance, if I get a positive correlation, then I can say that my instrument is possessing nomological validation. Okay, you have to write down all the 3 validation processes, and you, my dear friends, you have to remember a very important fact that at the time of developing the instrument itself, you should provide for scales for testing all these. Then only you can make a test for nomological validation and discriminant validation and so on. Especially in case of nomological validation, that is possible only when you have fixed a scale which are totally different from that of the original phenomena you are actually studying. That's why I have identified mass marketing orientation as a scale. Otherwise, I was not expected to study about mass marketing orientation when studying about customer relationship management. Okay, my dear friends, these are the things actually we theoretically want to explain today. Now we are moving on to the practicals of how we can do all this reliability, validation, and all in with the help of software that we are actually planning to do. Okay, we have a data set. It's a very big data set with almost 370 samples with a lot of variables. Okay, so that you will be able to understand exactly how to test reliability. I'm actually clearing some variables here because we have to construct. Okay. We are going to study how to test the correlation. Sorry, how to test the reliability. Okay, first of all, you open your data set with SPSS and go to analyze. You can see this window. Come to scale. Okay, when you come to scale, different options are there. We are going to study reliability analysis. So click on it. Okay. I have different scales for different measurements. One is OC. OC simply refers to organizational capabilities. Organizational capabilities. I have coded OC1, OC2, OC3, OC4, OC5, OC6, and OC7. Then OC8. That means 8 different statements are there for the measurement of organizational capability. Okay. Statements cannot be seen here. It is available in variable view. So I want to test the reliability of this scale. You select all the statements or all the variables for the measurement of organizational capabilities and put in this box. You always remember you put a name for the scale label. Okay, that is very important. And you click statistics, you will get this. This may not be ticked. This is now appearing as in tick form because I have done it. So tick it. Scale if item deleted. Now we are dealing with all these or this only. We have different options here. I'm not doing at present. We are not expected to have such figures, such different types of tests at present. So continue. Give continue. Are you sure about this? First of all, you have to select the variables and brought it here. Then you give OC. That is, OC is the label name. That is the scale you are actually going to have a measurement. And then you click statistics and scale if item deleted. You can click here everywhere, but actually not required for today's purpose. Okay. So that's enough. Now we are moving on to click OK. Look here. Please look here. The Cronbach alpha, the small table we are getting, Cronbach alpha, shows number 0.791. I have already told you the minimum Cronbach alpha required is 0.7. And the maximum possible is 1. I haven't seen a scale with 1. I have tested hundreds of scales, but I haven't seen a scale with 1. The minimum requirement is 0.7, and our the Cronbach alpha in our case is at present 0.791. That means that indicates that this scale is good, but we can't exactly say that the scale as such can be applied. You have to look at the Cronbach alpha deleted. You find whether there is any item with Cronbach alpha greater than this 0.791. This 0.791 is the reliability of this scale. That is, this is actually organizational capabilities. For the measurement of OC, we have the scale with reliability 0.791. If any item is having a Cronbach alpha greater than this 0.791, that statement must be deleted. That cannot be used for the measurement of this particular phenomenon. That is not fit for the scale. And one more thing to be tested is the corrected item to total correlation. Corrected item to total correlation. There are two aspects or two criteria to be checked. The corrected item to total correlation should be equal to or greater than 0.3. Equal to or greater than 0.3. That is one thing. Okay. So while looking at this second last statement, we can see the item to total correlation is 0.184, that is lower than 0.3, and at the same time the Cronbach alpha is 0.808, that is more than 0.791. That means this, we have simplified technologies for customer interface. This statement, that is the second last statement, we know that there are 8 statements and this is the second last. That means this is the 7th statement. So 7th statement must be deleted, must be avoided from the scale, and repeat the exercise. So the reliability assessment of this scale is not over. We will repeat it. We will repeat it so we can see exactly how we can repeat it. Okay. Again, moving on to analyze, scale, reliability. Okay, 7th is not fit in the scale, so it is to be sent back. So it is sent back. Even though we have developed a scale with 8 statements, statement number 7 is now found to be useless. We avoid it for the measurement. So again, you don't want to visit statistics and so on because it will be there. Once you give it, it will be there. Okay. Give okay. What do you see? What do you see? Cronbach alpha is 0.808. Number of items became 7. Number of items became 7. Okay. You look at the item to total correlation. Is there any item having correlation less than 0.3? No, all items are having correlation greater than 0.3. And you look at the Cronbach alpha if item deleted. All the Cronbach alpha if item deleted are lower than this 0.808. That means this scale is final. It is suitable for the measurement of the organizational capabilities. So look here. In the first scale, this is Cronbach alpha if item deleted. If this particular item, this particular statement is deleted, the Cronbach alpha of the scale can be improved from 0.791 to 0.808. That's the meaning. When there is a scope for improving the reliability, we have to do it. Okay, that is simple logic. That is the simple logic. Okay, you once again remember how much is the minimum? Minimum Cronbach alpha required is 0.7. Always remember. And the minimum item to total correlation is 0.3. If the Cronbach alpha in respect of any particular statement is greater than the common Cronbach alpha applicable in case of a scale, that statement must be avoided. If the item to total correlation is lower than 0.3, then also it must be avoided for the final reliability computation. Okay, that is important. And then you have to see what is this item to total correlation. It's very simple. It's a very simple concept. Item to total correlation is a simple concept. Say, for example, if you are acting as a respondent in any particular survey, and you are giving different levels of agreement, and for different levels of agreement, the numerical value assigned will be different. Say, for example, if you are responding to a questionnaire with 5 different statements on a 5-point scale. Suppose if you are putting strongly agree on against any particular statement, the score will be 5. In the next one, if you are putting agree, the score may be 4. In the next one, it may be again agree, again 4. In the next one, you are putting strongly agree, value is 5. Suppose if you have filled in 5 statements, you will be able to compute the total value of the total score of the scale you have given. Suppose if you have given 2 strongly agree and 3 agree, that is 2 5s and 3 4s, then the total score will be 22. Okay. Against the first statement, you have given strongly agree, that is 5. This 5 and 25 is to be correlated. Then in case of next statement, in case of next statement, 4 and 22 will be correlated. Such correlation is calculated by the system itself. Hundreds of calculations are done within a fraction of a second by the system software itself. That such a figure is given to you. The minimum is 0.3. Okay. Okay. This is very important. We are moving on to the construction of the reliability of the next one. Okay. Analyze. You always remember we have avoided item number 7 for the computation of OC7 for the computation of organizational capability. Okay, we are moving on to scale again, then reliability, all are to be sent back. We have already completed the procedure of OC, so we are moving on with another one. ST. ST stands, there are 11 items in that scale, 11 items in that scale, ST. Okay. Don't want to go here. It is here. Continue. Okay. Look at the scale. Cronbach alpha is 0.882. Number of item 11. You have to go through Cronbach alpha if items deleted. For what purpose? To see that no item is having Cronbach alpha greater than the common Cronbach alpha of 0.882. See, anyone here? Anyone having Cronbach alpha greater than 0.882? No. Okay. What is the next step? What is the next process? You have to look at the item to total correlation. Item to total correlation. What is the standard? 0.3 is the minimum. 0.3 is the minimum. Here, 0.7 was the minimum, but we have 0.882. That means the scale is highly reliable. And no item is having reliability greater than 0.882. So the scale itself is acceptable. And you look at the item to total correlation, the correlation value, all correlation values are greater than 0.3. So naturally, the scale is fit for the measurement of ST. Okay. Okay. No complicated procedure is here. Even though there were 11 items in the scale, the reliability is ensured at a faster pace, no problem at all. So we are moving on to another scale. There will be a number of scales in a research instrument. You should show patience. You have to experiment with it. Okay. So analyze, scale, reliability. First of all, these are to be sent back. Now I have CU. It actually stands for culture. There were 8 statements. Okay, CU. Give OK. The Cronbach alpha is 0.861. Number of items, 8. Check Cronbach alpha of all items, whether anyone is actually greater than 0.861. The last one, you look at the last one. Cronbach alpha is 0.881, which is greater than 0.861. That means this item must be deleted. The last one must be deleted. So again, we are expected to go back and do the same process, deleting the last one. That is CU8 must be deleted. CU8 must be deleted. Again, analyze, scale, reliability, then CU8, send back CU8. Okay, now there are only 7 items. Give OK. So look here, Cronbach alpha became 0.881. Number of statements is reduced to 7. Look at the Cronbach alpha of all statements, whether anyone is greater than 0.881. No, 870, 0.843, 0.871, 0.868, 0.864, 860, 866, and the correlation, all have high correlation. Okay, all have high level of correlation. That means in your research, you will use only statements from 1 to 7 only. There were 8 statements, but we can use only 7 statements. The 8th one is being deleted. Even though you have collected data with respect to that statement, you can't use it. That is the meaning. Okay, moving on to the next one. Again, we have some scales. It's a very big instrument. Again, reliability. This is to be sent back. Okay, I see. That is internal commitment. IC is internal commitment. There were 6 or 7 statements. Okay, wrote them together here. Give OK. See, the Cronbach alpha is only 0.547. What does it indicate? This scale is not at all usable. That is the meaning. This scale is not at all usable. While seeing such a scale at the time of analysis, the researcher will be in a great trouble. A scale is not usable. So can have a detailed look at these items. See here, one item is having 0.905. That is the second last item. We have a chance to participate in decision-making process. Okay, the reliability is 0.905, which is greater than 0.547. If we delete this particular statement, that is second last statement, the overall reliability of the scale can be improved to 0.905. And the item to total correlation in this case is actually lower than 0.3. So we can delete such a statement so that the scale Cronbach alpha of the scale can be improved to 0.905. Okay, look here how this is done. Analyze, scale, then reliability. Which one was IC 7? Once again. Okay. Second last one. That is 6 is sent back. Give OK. Oh, see, Cronbach alpha became 0.905. Number of items reduced to 6. You see? You look here. Last item. You look at the last item, 0.934. Again, the Cronbach alpha is greater than the common Cronbach alpha. What does it indicate? Again, you have to delete this item also. So this is the last one. This must be avoided. Okay. Process is to be continued. You always remember this is a trial and error approach. You have to repeat the process until the criteria, all criteria are satisfied. Okay, it's quite interesting. Okay, we are moving on. Analyze, scale, then reliability, last item. Okay, it is sent back. So now the number of items is reduced to 5. Okay. So you see the Cronbach alpha is 0.934. Now look at the Cronbach alpha of individual items. All are lower than 0.934. So what does it mean? What does it mean? It means we can use 5 statements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only for the measurement of this concept, that is internal commitment. Internal commitment, only 5 statements. Okay. I see 1 to 5. Okay. Okay. Then again moving. Analyze. Scale. Okay. How to send back all this? Easy. There were 7 items. EC stands for employee capability. Employee capability. Okay. Scale label is given. Then give OK. Cronbach alpha is 0.754. Look at the reliability. Okay, all reliability scores are lower than 0.754. And the item to total correlation in case of all statements are greater than 0.3. So the scale can be used without any change. Nothing is to be deleted from here. Okay. So moving on to next scale. Analyze. Reliability. Another one. That is, I put it as R cube. Cronbach alpha is 0.821, 821. 9 items were there. Here it is 821. There is one item with Cronbach alpha greater than 0.821. That is, here it is 0.826. So we have the practice of referring customer's name during transactions. That statement must be avoided. Okay, that is the second last statement. Okay, second last statement must be avoided so that the reliability of the scale can be improved to 0.826. So the process must be completed. Analyze, scale, reliability, the second last item, that is RCB4, that is the number. That must be avoided. Okay, so look, Cronbach alpha became 0.826. Look at the Cronbach alpha of all items here. All are lower than 0.826. Okay, all are lower than 0.826. I know now you may be familiar with the process, but the thing is that you have to understand the entire process. How difficult it is to do a research. What are the different steps to be done? Okay, that must be understood by all researchers. That's why I'm repeating the entire process. Okay, then. Scale, reliability, send back all these. Now, five items are there. This is actually RT, that is relationship trust. Cronbach alpha is 0.766. See, one item is having value greater than 0.766, that is 0.773. So that must be avoided. The last one. The last one must be avoided. So moving on, the process is continued. Analyze, scale, reliability, that is, last one is RTC4. Okay. So 7.773, look, all items have lower than 0.773. Item to total correlations are greater than 0.3. So scale is suitable now. Now again moving on. Again moving on, analyze, scale, reliability, so another scale with 7 items. This is for relationship marketing, RM. Okay, Cronbach alpha is 0.760. Look here, any item greater than 0.760? No. Any item having item to total correlation lower than 0.3? No. So the scale itself is acceptable. No further process is required. Okay, moving on to another. MM1 to MM5. This is mass marketing. Okay, 769. Look, all items have lower than Cronbach alpha lower than 0.769. Correlations are greater than 0.3. So it is also acceptable without any change. Now another scale. This is CR. 5 items are there. Okay. 0.806. Look, second item, 0.831. 0.831. That is to be avoided. Okay. Second item, send back. So you look at the Cronbach alpha, 0.831 is the Cronbach alpha, number of items 4. All items are having Cronbach alpha lower than 0.831 and item to total correlation satisfies the requirement. Moving on to next one. Analyze. So this will be the last, second last scale. Second last scale. BP1 to BP7. BP. Okay. Cronbach alpha is 0.904. Look at the individual Cronbach alpha. One item is having Cronbach alpha greater than 0.904. So that must be avoided. That is technical competency 1, 2, 3, fourth item. Fourth item. BP4. BP4 is avoided. BP4 is avoided. Okay. So 91.913 is the Cronbach alpha. Look here, any item having more than 913? Yes, definitely one more item. Cross-selling effectiveness. It is having Cronbach alpha 0.919. Again, the process is to be repeated. Okay. That means this item is also going. Cross-selling effectiveness is going out of performance evaluation. That last one. Okay, BP7. BP7. Okay. So give OK. 0.919. See. Again you can see one more item with the Cronbach alpha greater than the common Cronbach alpha. Here it is 0.919. Individual Cronbach alpha in case of achievement of business targets became 0.920. That must be avoided. Okay, again the process must be computed, must be repeated. Okay. I have shown you everything from beginning to end because while doing this kind of experience will be there. Don't be afraid. Which one? Third one. Okay. Third one. BP3. So when we send back BP3, there are only 4 items. Remember, for the purpose of computing this business performance, this is actually statements for assessing the business performance. There are only 4 statements, that is BP1, BP2, BP5, and BP6. Only these statements can be used. Others are useless. Okay. So the value of the scale became 0.920. And here the individual alphas are less than 0.920. Now it became acceptable, reliable scale for the measurement of business performance. So business performance must be evaluated based on return on investment, volume of business, maintaining high value customers, and customer satisfaction. All others are avoided. Okay. Only one more, the last one. Okay. Last one. Analyze, scale, reliability. The last one is SP1 to SP4, that is sales performance. .791 Cronbach alpha, and Cronbach alpha in case of all other items are lower than 0.791. Okay, it's good. All item to total correlations are low or are greater than 0.3. That is also good, satisfying all requirements. So the reliability of the instrument is now ensured. You remember, all dear participants, you remember, we have to calculate the value of the scale on the basis of those items with the qualifying reliability. That means in case of, or at the time of computing the value of this scale, that is the business performance scale, there will be only 4 items. There were 7 items in the original instrument, but for the computation of the value of the scale, there will be only 4 items. That is the thing. Okay. Now we have to see another thing. We have completed the assessment of reliability of an instrument. Now we can move on to the computation of the variables related to scales. You see, you look at the data set. Look at the data set. Here, it is blank. That means after SP4, there is nothing. All these are actually SP1, SP2, SP3, SP4. All these are actually the numbers actually fed in on the basis of the research instrument or the questionnaire. But we are actually in need of the values of the different scales we have tested the reliability. Okay. So we have to learn exactly how to compute the value of different variables or different scales. Okay, again, for the construction of new variables, here we have only the values for statements. We can't use the values of statements for the purpose of analysis. So we have to create new variables with the help of scales. How to compute? That is the question here. Okay. See here, instead of analyze, you have to go to transform. Write down, transform, click transform. There will be a number of options. You click compute variable. Then a dialog box like this will appear. Okay. First of all, we are calculating the scale value for OC. You might be remembering the statement which was refused due to reliability problem. That should not be taken into account. So how to compute? the value. In numeric expression cell, you type mean. We are going to compute the value of organizational capabilities by taking the mean of 7 different items. Even though there are 8 items, we have already avoided one. The avoided one should not be taken into account for the construction of the scale. That is important. So you type mean, then put a bracket here. Then the statements which are to be taken into account for the computation of OC must be transferred to there. Give a double click, so it will appear there. Give a comma, then again comma. Okay. Okay. OC, I think OC7 is being refused. So I'm avoiding that. OC8. Close the bracket. So what will you get? You are going to create another variable for OC, that is organizational capabilities. What is the process? You have computed the mean of 7 different statements which are found reliable for the measurement of organizational capabilities. So the process is to type mean and put all the variables one by one in the bracket, giving comma in between. So you give OK. You give OK. Anything happen here? No. Output, while looking at the output, you can see nothing happened here. Compute, OC, mean. The command given by us is actually given here. So we are moving on to the data set. What happened? We can see. Look at the last column. Last column. See, OC is the new variable created. This new variable is actually computed by taking the average of 7 different statements which are found to be reliable for the abilities. Okay. I hope you have studied how to create a variable using transform. I would like to show one more here. Okay. Again, you go to transform, compute variable. Cancel all those. The next item after OC, it is ST. That is structure, organizational structure. ST, label name, target variable is ST. Or there were 11 items and all 11 items were selected while assessing the reliability. So nothing, no, don't worry. ST1, comma, ST2. In between variables, you put a comma. ST9, ST10, ST11. Okay. Give OK. Again, here it is. Compute ST. Okay. Go to the original data set and see ST, new ST here. Okay, this process must be followed. Okay, transform, compute variable. Now the new one, that is CU. We have avoided one, CU. Okay, I'm not remembering exactly which one is being avoided. So the last one I'm avoiding. Don't worry. Okay. CU1, CU2, CU3, CU4, CU5. CU6. Okay, only 6. I don't know exactly. I'm not exactly remembering which item is being rejected. You actually got exactly how to compute. If I'm taking only 6 as per the reliability, you give. Okay. Okay. This is not I haven't changed the target variable. That's why a dialog box like this is appearing. So again, we have to go back, transform, compute variable. This is actually CU, that is culture. Okay. So it is executed. Okay. You can see CU. Okay, like this, you can calculate n number of variables. All mathematical operations can be done using the transform option. Whatever mathematical operation, you can add something, you can divide something, you can multiply, you can construct some index, you can calculate percentage, variables with percentages, or variables with fractions. All these can be computed. All sorts of computations can be made with the help of transformation. You try to experiment with the transformation so that you can utilize the transformation in different ways. Okay, this is the process where we are actually constructing the scale and getting measurement. You see, simply look at these figures. Actually, the scale is a 5-point scale. In case of a 5-point scale, the figures should, in case of my scale, the figures range from 1 to 5. So you ensure whether the values are within 1 and 5. Okay, look here. Values ranges in between 1 and 5. You can't see any value, any number greater than 5 and lower than 1. If you found something like that, that means there is a mistake in the data set, not in the software, but in the data set you are using, and you have to identify the number which is recorded wrongly. Sometimes there may be in place of 5, you may enter 15. In place of 2, you may enter 20, and so on. If such an error happen, that must be located by you. Okay. So within a fraction of a second, how many figures have been computed by SPSS? Okay. 376 is the sample. So that's the reliability analysis and the computation of variable in a data set. Now we have almost 22 minutes. So I would like to move on to another thing, that is how to show these while writing your thesis or writing your paper. Okay. How to present the information in your paper or in your thesis. Okay. This is a chapter of results model in my thesis. Okay. The item generation, content validation processes are actually explained in detail, how I have developed different statements. Then pilot survey and instrument pretest, the process which I have explained today are being explained here. Final survey and reliability analysis. Okay. So you see how this is being presented. You remember there are different ways by which the reliability of the instrument is to be presented in a research. In my study, there were 5 different components of CRMO So that's why I have put everything in a single statement, in a single statement. You see, trust, the common Cronbach alpha is 0.773, and I have also shown item to total correlation. After the analysis, you don't want to show the individual Cronbach alpha of the statements. You have to show the Cronbach alpha of the scale. The scale Cronbach alpha of the scale used for measuring trust is 0.773. This is my original data, and bonding it is 0.791. Communication it is 0.806, and shared value it is 0.774. Empathy it is 0.785, and the overall reliability of the scale, this is also important. Overall reliability of the scale must be computed if there are different components in your construct. But on the other hand, you all always remember, I have already told you something which are not appearing here. I have already told you I have a scale for the measurement of performance of bank and mass banking and so on, which are not shown here because the reliability of such statements are to be taken into account, but that they are not to be shown here because these 5 components form together to measure the construct of CRMO. Others are to be shown separately. That's why I'm showing this. Okay. You don't want to see this at present. This is the reliability of the second instrument that you don't want to see. Okay. Okay, this part we will discuss in the next class. You see, reliability statistics of mass banking. Reliability computed was 0.843. Item to total correlation is here. This part is not actually required. Cronbach alpha for different statements need not be shown here. It is not at all required. Okay, so you remember why I am showing all these, because you should remember this kind of a presentation is not possible in case of all studies. Suppose if there are no, if a particular aspect is measured with a single scale, then you don't want to show everything together in a bundle. So you see, I have measured mass banking, but the reliability statistics of mass banking is shown separately. The scale used for the performance is also shown separately. Okay, look here. I have measured customer loyalty in case of customer survey. It is being shown separately. You don't want to put it in the original one. Okay. Okay, this is the way by which you are expected to show the reliability statistics. Okay. You may have some questions. Definitely, I'll be happy to answer to your queries. Okay. Okay, now we have some questions. The first question I have already answered. Resmi's question is answered. Second question is also raised by a participant yesterday. If respondent opt for okay. Second question is, if respondent opt 2 or more options, how it should be considered. That is to be decided by you. In case of a statement, there is no possibility for giving more than one option. If multiple options are there in any particular state, in any particular case, you have to be very careful while making your variable view. At the time of making variable view, say for example, if there are some items given and the respondents can give more than one options, then you have to enter independently each one, and you don't want to put anything on the value. If a particular respondent is opting a particular one, you give 1, otherwise you give 0. That's all. Okay, is there a relationship between reliability and number of respondents? I don't think there is some sort of relationship between reliability and number of respondents. There is a common feeling that more the number, better will be the reliability, but that's not right. From my experience, I have played with hundreds of databases, original databases, developed databases, and I haven't seen there any relationship between number of respondents and the reliability. Okay. And in reliability, the benchmark 0.7. Likewise, do we have any value or any benchmark in validity? No, I will definitely tell you the requirements for validation in the next class. No problem at all. I have told about the theoretical aspects of validation, and that is actually not measured in terms of numerical values, but it is on the basis of a correlation. Okay. Is there any relationship between reliability and validity? They are actually related concepts, but used for 2 different purposes. One is actually, these 2 are actually used for ensuring that the instrument you are using is actually internally consistent, and the instrument is good for prediction, that is good for the measurement. Both these together are essential for a valid instrument. Okay, another thing is, what is the difference between construct and variables? Okay, a construct simply refers to a combination of scales or a combination of variables. Say for example, in case of my instrument, customer relationship management orientation, that is a construct that is used for expressing a feeling that there are different components used for making that particular construct. Construct is actually used for representing a bunch of scales used for the measurement of a particular thing. And variable is only one aspect that is almost equivalent to a scale. A scale can be considered as a variable, but a scale is constructed with the help of several variables, and when all these variables are combined together, it becomes a scale, and that scale can be considered as a variable. Okay. When we need to do reliability test after pilot study or after completing data collection, actually in both cases we can do a reliability, because reliability is a process where you can avoid some statements. You have seen some statements are being avoided at the time of reliability. If you can avoid some statements like this before commencing your final survey, the number of statements or number of questions in your research instrument will be less. That is, it's always better to minimize the number of statements and number of questions in your research instrument. It will add quality of the research instrument, and at the same time, it will ensure convenience from the part of the respondents. Okay. Another question is, if in the study, the researcher is adopting a widely accepted scale, then whether it is necessary to undergo reliability analysis. Okay, it's a very good question. Very good question. Say, for example, if you are adopting the scale developed by a well-accepted person, which has undergone, which is being cited by so many people. Say, for example, in case of money attitude, there are some scales. In case of personality, the Bigam scale is there. And so many scales are widely accepted across the globe. But you remember, while applying such scales, you remember you have to evaluate, or you have to see whether the expressions given in the scales are understandable to the people or understandable to the respondents. If it is understandable, no problem, you can use it. If you found that some of the statements are not at all applicable here, not at all applicable here, then such a statement may be avoided, but a rigorous process is required. But even then, say for example, if an American management expert, say for example, take the case of Morgan and Hunt or Jagdish and Seth or such other people have done a work and their scale is available. Okay, the scale is accepted. Now the question is whether you want reliability analysis. It is being, you remember, reliability analysis is essential because you are doing the research work in another environment. In case of in an entirely different scenario, you are doing research. So reliability analysis is important here also. Okay, should we need to put reliability statistical table in our research report? Then to what extent? I have put the reliability statement in my research report under the in a chapter research model. The method of presentation actually depends on the intention of the person who is actually conducting the research. Okay, if you are putting everything in your research report, not in a paper, research paper, that is not at all possible. In a thesis, if you can put everything, a person who referring your thesis will be able to understand exactly what are the processes which are being adopted. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for, otherwise it will be very difficult to understand how you have arrived at a particular thing. If you want to hide something, you don't want to show. Okay. Sir, is there any possibility in the case of testing reliability, getting the CB of the item deleted less than in the CB and its total correlation less than 0.3? How we take the decision? Because based on CB, it is comfortable, but looking into total correlation, it is not good. Remember, we have two different criteria. One is item to total correlation and another is Cronbach alpha. Both these must be satisfied. If any one is not satisfied, it is to be thrown away, no doubt at all. If there are more than one item with the Cronbach alpha value, if item deleted greater than the value given in reliability statistics table, what is the procedure? Okay, very good question. Nice question. There are some instances where such things happen. Remember, if there are more items, the best possible method is to delete the item with the highest item to highest Cronbach alpha. Say for example, if the Cronbach alpha of the scale is 0.8, there are 3 items with the Cronbach alpha greater than 0.8, and if one is 0.92 and that is found to be the biggest one, then the item with the 0.92 should be deleted first and see what's happening. The process should be like that. Then you will be able to get a good result. Okay. Okay. Is it mandatory to fulfill both the conditions, greater than 0.3 for corrected item to total correlation and Cronbach alpha. If item deleted, then reliability set. For rejecting an item in reliability analysis, I think it was not satisfying for all constructs in our examples. Example may be there, but the thing is that what I said is it is important. Both these are important. Both these have its own advantage, its own importance. So you don't want to check the item to total correlation of my example. That's only an example. Should be very careful while doing your research. Can we please have this model chapter of your thesis? Definitely it is available. The entire thesis is available in the MG University thesis archive. You can download it. Otherwise, if you are not able to find it, I can share it with you. No problem at all. Okay, how to compute the overall Cronbach alpha of scale? I have already told you. What is the effect if we have correlation below 0.3? That means the statement is not correlated with others. A very important requirement is that if there are 6 statements in a scale, in a scale, all the different statements must be correlated. Otherwise, an item which is having a correlation below the required limit, that is 0.3, that means that particular item is not related with the other items. That means such an item is not going to measure that particular scale, not going to give the measurement you are actually planning. That's the importance.